House of the Dragon Episode 5 turns the dance inward. Criston Cole is no longer trying to win so much as choose how he dies. Alicent tries to end Helena's pregnancy, then escape with her. Aemond and Aegon reveal the same childhood wound from opposite sides, and while Rhaenyra searches for enemies beyond the walls, Ormund Hightower is building a rival king and killing men inside her city. Full spoilers ahead. Now, let's start right there. Criston and his men slip into Lord Tully's camp, set it ablaze, and disappear before the larger Riverlands force can answer. The ambush shows that Criston can still win a moment. He strikes fast, creates chaos, and get his men out before the Rivermen's numbers can close around them. But winning a moment is no longer enough. Criston is running out of land, supplies, and places to retreat. Every ambush buys him a little more time without bringing him any closer to safety. And the River Lords are beginning to learn how he fights. At Harrenhal, Alys Rivers stays ahead of a different threat. When sellswords arrive looking for Aemond, she tells them he is not there, throws a stone behind her, and bats pour out of the darkness. Maybe she called them, maybe she simply knows where they're waiting in the dark. Either way, the bats drive the men away and leave Alys standing exactly where she was, untouched. And inside the castle, Aemond is losing that advantage. He wakes from a nightmare alone, clutching the Catspaw dagger he picked up beside Aegon after the battle at Rook's Rest in Season 2, Episode 4. In his dream, Aegon's burnt face pulls him down into the darkness. Aemond wants his brother dead, but Aegon is already haunting him, and the blade in his hand keeps him tied to everything that happened between them at Rook's Rest. And that dagger also carries his own history. Viserys connected it to Aegon the Conqueror's prophecy in Season 1, and centuries later, we'll see Arya use the same blade to kill the Night King in Game of Thrones. But Harrenhal has a way of dragging whatever its guests are trying hardest to bury straight to the surface. Daemon was tormented by a vision of his mother there in Season 2, and now Aemond is unraveling in the same castle where Alys gives him the kind of comfort he has spent years searching for. And when he finally curls into her and whispers one word, mother, it echoes the way Sylvi held him at the brothel in King's Landing in Season 2. She soothed him less like a lover, more like a mother calming a frightened child. Aemond has repeatedly mixed maternal comfort with physical intimacy. Alys did not create that need, but she understands exactly how to reach it. She does not have to defeat Aemond or command Vhagar. She only has to become the place he goes when he is afraid. But Aemond is not the only Targaryen whose weakness is being watched. Back in King's Landing, one of last week's quieter ideas has already made its way into the capital. Cats are now moving through the city, the exact solution Alyn suggested last episode when he explained the sailors kept them aboard their ships to control the rats. Rhaenyra took his advice, and for once, the problem inside King's Landing seems to be handled before it has a chance to keep growing into something worse. The next problem not be handled so easily. Grand Maester Orwyle arrives with moon tea for Helaena, and a woman watches him enter, almost certainly one of Masaria's whisperers. Orwyle warns Alicent that he cannot continue helping them without drawing more attention. Alicent wants Helaena to drink the tea before Rhaenyra discovers the pregnancy. And if the child is a boy, it creates another green heir with a claim Rhaenyra cannot ignore. But Alicent and Helaena are hearing two different threats. Alicent hears a political problem that needs to disappear before Rhaenyra learns about it, and Helaena hears another person trying to decide what happens to her child. And when she refuses the tea and says it's mine, she takes the choice away from Alicent. After everything that has happened to Helaena, that refusal carries more weight than simply protecting another green heir. She has spent most of her life being told whom she would marry, what children she could bear, and what would happen to those children once the war began. And for once, she makes the decision herself. Alicent can plead with her, she can frighten her with what Rhaenyra might do, but she cannot make Helaena surrender this child. And because Orwyle has been seen arriving, Alicent no longer has the luxury of handling the pregnancy quietly. And while Alicent tries to erase a future heir, Rhaenyra is dealing with a debt left behind by the son she lost. At the small council meeting, Manderly brings Sabitha Frey, the council's newest member, up to speed on the latest gossip moving through Rhaenyra's court. But Sabitha has more than gossip on her mind. In Season 2, Episode 5, Jace promised Harrenhal to House Frey in exchange for passage at the twins and their support. And now Rhaenyra has offered that same castle as payment for killing Aemond. The council seat gives Sabitha access. It does not settle the debt. Jace made promises when the Blacks desperately needed allies. Now Rhaenyra is learning that wartime promises do not disappear when the person who made them dies. They become debts someone else has to pay. This is one problem Rhaenyra can see. The threat Daemon is chasing is harder to find. Rhaenyra wants every available resource focused on Aemond and Vhagar. Daemon believes the murdered Gold Cloaks inside King's Landing are the more immediate concern. Rhaenyra's position makes sense. Vhagar can burn an army, destroy a castle, and change the war in a single attack. But Daemon understands what murder inside the capital can do. The dragon attacks from the sky, but fear moves door to door. If the Gold Cloaks begin believing Rhaenyra cannot protect them, then the force that helped deliver King's Landing to her can begin falling apart from within. Then Joffrey arrives and asks to see his mother. And after Jace's death, he is now Rhaenyra's heir. She says she will see him later when she has time. Joffrey is no longer simply another son waiting for his mother. He is now the continuation of her claim. And while Rhaenyra is trying to protect the throne, the boy who may one day inherit it is left waiting in a room by himself. Beyond King's Landing, Aegon has reduced his own future to one thing: finding Aemond, killing him, or dying in the attempt. And while one green brother hunts another, Alicent is still trying to keep Helena's pregnancy from reaching Rhaenyra. Mysaria questions her about Orwell's visit and what he brought with him, but Alicent claims the moon tea was for her. She says she became pregnant sometime after Viserys' death and drinks it in front of Mysaria to sell the lie. But Mysaria does not leave quite convinced. Alicent may have swallowed the tea, but the woman watching Orwell arrive has already given Mysaria a reason to believe there is more to the story. Elsewhere in King's Landing, Daemon and Sir Luther find something more concrete. 2 more Gold Cloaks with their throats cut and bellies open. The first pair could have been an isolated attack. 4 bodies begin to show a pattern. And someone inside the city is also feeding information back to Ormund Hightower. Now the killings are no longer only about dead guards. They are evidence that Ormund has people moving through the same streets Rhaenyra believes she controls. Back at Tumbleton, Daeron beats Ormund at a game of Savas. Ormund knocks the board aside, and Daeron immediately tries to soften the victory by calling it luck. Ormund shuts that down, telling them never to apologize for a victory. The lesson goes beyond the game, as Daeron still has a habit of shrinking himself after he succeeds, as though winning too openly might draw the wrong kind of attention. Ormund is trying to train that instinct out of him. A prince can dismiss a win as luck. A man being prepared to rule cannot. And while Ormund is pushing Daeron to accept what victory looks like, Alicent is trying to find a way out of the city before Helena's pregnancy is exposed. Away from the Red Keep, Alicent trades away her faith pendant to secure help escaping King's Landing. The plan is to reach the hidden passage inside Baela's room, the same passage Blood and Cheese used to reach Jaehaerys in Season 2, Episode 1. Alicent is trying to turn the path that brought death into Helena's family into the path that saves what remains of it. But the plan requires leaving Jaehaerys behind. Alicent is trying to preserve Helaena and the unborn child, even if that means separating Helaena from the daughter she already has. Helaena refuses to save one child by abandoning another. So before the escape even begins, the 2 women are already trying to save different things. And then back at Harrenhal, Aemond speaks about the older brother he once admired, the brother who humiliated him, and the brother he believed received the love Alicent withheld from him. The very next scene lets Aegon answer without either brother being in the same room. Aemond believed Alicent loved Aegon more. Aegon believed Alicent loved Aemond more. Both brothers spent their childhood envying a love neither one actually received. Aemond became the son who tried to be disciplined, capable, and impossible to dismiss. Aegon became the son who stopped trying before anyone could tell him he had failed. And each blamed the other for the man he became. But Larys refused to let Aegon stay inside that version of the story. Aegon had the family name, the Tudors, Sunfire, and eventually the throne. Whatever Alicent failed to give him, he was still given opportunities most people in Westeros had never imagined. Larys is usually the man who tells a ruler whatever keeps him close to the throne. Here, he does the opposite. He tells Aegon he was a terrible king and a terrible man. He does not deny Aegon's wound. He simply refuses to let that wound erase every choice Aegon made afterward. At the Grand Sept, Rhaenyra has also run out of patience. She meets Daemon there and speaks to him in High Valyrian so people around them cannot follow every word. Daemon warned her after the first 2 bodies. Now there are 4. He is no longer closer to finding who is responsible. Murders have stopped being Daemon's private concern. They are now proof that someone is openly testing the crown inside his own city. And while Rhaenyra presses Daemon for answers, Alicent decides her window to leave is closing. She and Helaena begin their escape, but Helaena immediately asks about Jaehaera. And Alicent promises they will meet her beyond the gate, but that promise asks Helaena to trust the part of the plan she has already rejected. Before they can get far, Mysaria catches them and realizes Helaena is pregnant, not Alicent. And in one moment, she now has the pregnancy, Alicent's lie, their attempted escape in her hands. Alicent has no army, title, or immediate reward left to offer. All she can trade is future green loyalty if the balance ever shifts again. Mysaria's strongest position is not choosing a side yet. The secret can help Rhaenyra now, help the greens later, or become more valuable the longer both sides remain unsure what she knows. Alicent entered the scene trying to protect one secret. She leaves with Mysaria holding all of it. At Harrenhal, the danger is far less patient. Men attack Alys searching for Aemond, and Aemond kills them before they can do anything to her. The comfort Alys gives him has not softened him. She has simply become someone he is willing to kill for. And Aegon leaves a body behind soon after as well. He and Larys encounter Tyland Lannister, Aegon's former master of coin, who survived the Battle of the Gullet and may know what happened to the crown's hidden wealth. Tyland's path is different in the book Fire and Blood, as he remained in King's Landing after Rhaenyra takes the city. Here, the show places him directly beside Aegon. That gives the fallen king more than a familiar face. It reconnects him with the man who understands the Green's money, their government, and where their remaining resources may be hidden. But Aegon is still carrying the one object that can destroy his disguise. When Janos finds the crown in his bag and recognizes him, Aegon covers his mouth and repeatedly stabs him with the dagger. He may have lost the throne, but he still cannot leave behind the proof that he believes it belongs to him. From there, every remaining road begins to close. Inside King's Landing, Daemon promises the Gold Cloaks riches if they remain loyal, but the gold only works if the men believe they will live long enough to spend it. In the Riverlands, Criston and Gawain find the bridge burned by the Rivermen. Now, the road forward is gone. But Criston wants to press forward anyway by any means necessary. And that is when Gawain finally understands what Criston has been doing all along. Criston is not searching for a safe route out. He is looking for a death he can choose. And he is pulling every soldier still following towards the same end. And the ambush at the beginning showed Criston could still win moments. The bridge shows what those moments have brought him, possibly a slower march towards the Butcher's Ball. The Rivermen have taken away his road. Criston treats that as a reason to sacrifice more men instead of turning back. Back at King's Landing, Daemon finally discovers that Ormund has been building an entirely different road to the throne. He tortures one of Ormund's supporters, finds a coin carrying Daeron's likeness. Ormund has declared Daeron king and claims often begin before the claimant makes a public declaration. They begin with a face on a coin, a name repeated through an army, and the suggestion that there may be someone else worth following. Tyland, now traveling with Aegon. Daeron's face is appearing on coins, and Aemond still missing with Vhagar. The Greens are no longer moving behind one king. They are beginning to split into different claims, each with his own supporter and his own path forward. Daeron has not declared himself, but by now he clearly understands the role Ormund is preparing him to claim. While Daemon realizes how far Ormund's reach has spread, Helaena finally discovers what looks like a way out. One of the cats leads her to a draft in the wall and a hidden passage. She and Alicent entered, hoping the tunnels beneath the Red Keep will take them outside. The door closes behind them, passage ends at a wall, and their escape route becomes another trap. Then Daemon's investigation ends at a table. He finds Sir Luther and more Gold Cloaks arranged around it, slaughtered with a feast for traitors written above them in blood. The words are not only meant for Daemon, they are meant for every Gold Cloak who accepted Rhaenyra's coin, every lord who switched sides when she took King's Landing, and every man now wondering whether loyalty to a new queen has made him a target. Daemon spent the episode promising rewards, and whoever arranged this table is promising punishment. And by the time the credits roll, no one has the answer they need. Daemon still does not know who is directing the killings. Alys and Helaena do not know whether the passage has another exit, and Daeron has not taken the crown, but Ormund has made it clear that one is now within reach. Episode 6 is no longer waiting on one major battle to change the war. It is waiting for one of these plans to break first. As we head into episode 6, which threat do you think reaches Rhaenyra first? Daeron's growing claim outside King's Landing, or the enemy already moving through the city? What's your take on this episode? Drop it in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you're curious for more, click the video on your screen to watch the next breakdown now. This is Thrones and Ladders. Every climb has a cost, and in this Game of Thrones, power always collects.